this is Lana with Lana Belana Design for Spellbinders, and welcome to my channel. Today we are playing with a 3D embossing folder of the month for the month of June, and just take a look at this beautiful embossing folder. Absolutely stunning. Now, this video is part of my little tiny mini series that I called Slimline Heaven. This is the second video in a row, and if you would like to check out my very first video, I will put a link up above. You can click and watch it later. And there's also a link down below in the comments if you would like to check it out, along with my affiliate links. Now, as usual, I like to sketch what I like to create. It really helps me focus and stay on top of things. That way I know which direction I'm going, as well as what kind of supplies I'm going to use for my project. This is just a little quick tip that I have for you, and I hope you use it because trust me, it is very helpful. Next, I have already pre-cut my cardstock. I have a couple of card bases just in case. I always like to have some extra. And I also cut matching pieces of craft foam because this is going to help me later on for some extra dimension. I am using craft foam for a reason. Of course, you can use a foam tape if that is what you have. I just find that craft foam is much lighter, it's less expensive, and it is also going to give me that even dimension throughout my cards. And for the sake of time, I already pre-cut some stuff. Now these strips are magnets, and you will see me later in this video actually changing this idea into something a little bit different, because these strips were not strong enough to hold my cardstock. And you see this little cute anchor? Well, this anchor is actually what inspired today's design, and I thought that it's gonna look pretty cool with that embossing folder. Now, what you're going to need is a set of nested circle dies. Now, you can do this if you have, of course, some circle frames. That also works, but I created my frames by using 2 circle dies. The first one is 2 1/4 inch. That's the larger one. And the smaller one is 1 3/4 inch. So when I lined them together like that, I actually created frames that I am going to need later on for my card. And there is a circle that I cut out of vellum, and I used a bigger circle for this. And now what I am going to do is cut my panel and all of my craft foam at once, and I'll be back with die cut pieces in just a second, your time. Now, my card panel and all of my craft foam panels are beautifully die cut, and I suggest you always die cut before dry embossing. That way, you won't lose all those beautiful patterns that you have on your embossed card. Look how beautiful that looks. Now, I am going to add a little bit of interest to this panel. This is going to be very quick. I am using pumice stone, distress oxide ink, and I am just going to add some coloring to my panel. This is going to give a lot more interest to the card, and is also going to make the pattern more visible. And that's it. My panel is done. And this is where things started getting interesting. Remember these little strips from the beginning of the video? Well, guess what? They did not work. The idea behind this window is to actually create a boat window, like a little circle window that you see on boats. And I wanted this to be an interactive card where you can actually open and close that window. So that magnet did not work. I decided to cut several pieces by using magnetic sheets. I got these sheets on Amazon. You can also find them there. They're fairly inexpensive, or you can get them at your local Michaels store. So what I am going to do is cut several of these circles that are going to go behind my window panels and assemble this off camera just for the sake of time, and I'll be right back. My little window is done, and I love how these magnets actually turned out and how perfectly they fit behind my panels here. They seem to be working and holding these two panels quite okay. So I think that this is going to end up working for my interactive card. I put 2 layers of the magnetic sheet on each panel. That way these magnets are going to be a little bit stronger. And there should be no issue with opening and closing that window. Next thing, what I need to create is a little hinge. I just cut a simple tiny piece of cardstock, and the first thing I'm going to do is glue it on the back of the first panel. Next, I'm going to score it several times. This is going to create a nice bend. And what I suggest you do here first is measure your hinge before you cut it. Don't do it the other way around, because I did that and I ended up cutting my hinge way too much. However, it did turn out okay at the end, but I could have easily lost this interactive element that I spent so much time creating. After that interactive element was done, I think everything else somehow fell into place and everything else was so much easier to do. Next, I lined up the foam panels with the front panel of my card and use a pencil to trace a circle on the card base. And use some masking tape to protect my border before I started stamping. I used this old My Monthly Hero kit from Hero Arts, and all that I'm going to do is use some ripples here so I could create a look of the ocean. Just ink up my stamp and easily stamp. Next, I am going to create a little background. For this, I am using a different shade of blue to create the sky. And don't worry if you go over those lines because they're going to be covered with the panel anyway. And I also ended up adding just a little bit of pink to create an illusion of a sunset. And then I took yet another shade of blue to color in the ocean, and my ocean scene was done. I then took a piece of twine and attached my little charm here and secured it with a couple of pieces of washi tape. This is going to be just perfectly enough since the panels are going to go on top of it, and this little anchor is going to be anchored there for years to come. Next, I simply glued all the panels on top of each other, and that is it. The front panel is almost done. There's only going to be one more element to attach to this, And that is the interactive element that I created earlier. And of course, that is the window. I am just putting some liquid adhesive and directly gluing it on the panel of my card, waiting for a few moments for that glue to set. And that is it. The card is done. And at the very end, I decided to add some silver half domes to my window to even more resemble that window of a boat or a ship. I decided not to go with the sentiment simply because I thought it was going to be too much for this card. Now, this interactive feature is not that intuitive, but I think that that's even more charming because the recipient needs to figure this part out. And that is it, my friends. Thank you so much for being here, for watching this video with me. I tried to make it as short as I possibly could because I really didn't want to bother you with technical aspects of this card. I hope you like this project. I hope this inspires you to create something similar. If you have any comments or questions regarding this video, let me know in the comments below. Again, thank you so much for being here, and I will see you soon with